Welcome back for another top-notch video. This week, guys, we're going to be talking about the week of July 8th through July 12th. As always, our channel is about the CSI and F funds for the TSP user or the ETFs IVV, VXF, EFA, and AGG. This is a retirement channel / 401k, Roth IRA / TSP channel. So if you have one of those funds, go ahead and you can watch this video and kind of follow along, see where we put our funds every week, and kind of get a market overview every single week. As always, our C fund or IVV follows the S&P 500. The S fund or VXS follows the small caps. I fund or EFA follows international markets, and our F fund / AGG ETF follow bonds. That being said, we kind of go over a general overview of our funds, kind of what they did for the week, then go into our more specific technical analysis. So with our TSP for this week, as you can see, we were up this week. It was a good week for those that were in the C and S fund. The I fund did lose 0.5%, and the bonds did lose about 0.25%, but C and S were up. They were not up towards the beginning of the week, so that was a good little push towards the end of the week, primarily due to the Federal Reserve putting out some information in regards to interest rates. Here is our funds as we see them for the charts this week. So like I mentioned, most funds were down towards the 8th and the 9th and even the 10th. And then we saw that S fund pop positive towards the end of the week, or the VXF ETF. And then the C fund as well towards about middle of the week rose and ended up making it positive week. So that is great for us. Charts do look pretty good. We're going to go to a kind of just broad overview. So this is the S&P 500, IVV, or the C fund. As you can see, we are on a rising channel here going up. We are above all our moving averages, which is great. We do have an open gap down here below. Typically, open gaps get filled, so just watch that out in the future. We could see that try to get filled here coming up shortly. The S fund or VXF is on a rising trend channel. We are approaching that double top area, so we want to be careful. But overall, I think markets have some pretty good momentum behind them. I think we could see new highs with the S fund or VXF, our small caps. And then finally, we have EFA down here. With EFA, we're seeing some open gaps, especially towards the lower part below our moving averages. We did have some open gaps that were filled, as you can see on this chart here. We have one open gap above and one open gap below. We'll have to wait to see if those get filled or not. I'm not really sure. Charts support the open gap being filled towards the top end of the chart, but we'll have to wait and see. And finally, we have bonds, AGG. With bonds, AGG, it did fall out of its trend line, so we are headed back down to that blue trend line and back to our 50-day moving average. It held up for a real long time, kind of taking a small breather. That's probably a good thing for stocks, and we are invested in stocks. That is good. Now we'll kind of go over our general overview and kind of our technical analysis of all funds. The first one we start out with is IYY, and you ask, what is IYY? It is a general market fund. It holds all stock indices in that, so basically you can see what all market participants are doing. We like to see what everybody is doing, the professional fund managers, the mom and pop at home, what everyone's thinking, what everyone's doing, and then compare it on our technical charts. So with IYY, we see some movement up here. We are getting to the new highs with IYY, so that is good. We are towards the top of our charts. We are above all our moving averages. We're seeing kind of a flat 200-day moving average, hoping to see that move up just a tad bit. And on our technical charts, on a weekly setting, as you can see, with our DO oscillator, we are in our second positive week, so we are doing very well on the weekly chart. Our blue line, our PPPO line, is above our moving average, so we are good there. On a 2-day chart, we are slowly coming down, but I'm not too concerned with that because on our 4-hour chart, we are headed back into the positive territory. So IYY is doing well. Typically, we put our money into stocks when the main industry fund is doing well. So when the general market is doing well, we want to be in stocks. So that's doing well. So let's move into our individual stocks that we monitor. So that's going to start with IVV, which is the C fund, or that ETF basically. On a weekly scale with IVV, as you can see, kind of very similar. We are towards the top of our trend line. We are at new highs. We broke into new highs this week, so that is good. We have all our moving averages moving in the right direction. No really issues or concerns. Good place to have money this week for sure. On a weekly scale, as you can see, our DO oscillator is moving in the positive territory. Our PPO line is above our red line. On a weekly scale, on a 2-day scale, we are going down slowly, but we're still on that blue line, still above the red line, so we're still good there. And then on a 4-hour scale, we're seeing some positive movement here as well. So that is very good on the short and long term for IVV. Good place to have money right now. Good place to have your funds. Moving on to VXF, or the S fund, which is the small caps. With small caps, as you can see here with VXF, we are moving up. We have not hit those new highs yet, so we're still kind of seeing where that can go. And we have topped this out just a little bit. We're gonna, like I said, we have to watch out for that double top, but moving averages are moving in the right directions. We did get that 20-day moving average over the 50-day moving average, and we'll have to wait and see. I don't like that these are kind of down pointing just a tad bit, but on our technical charts, as you can see from the weekly chart here, we are in the positive territory with VXF. Our oscillator is in the positive. Our PPO line is above our moving average, so we are moving in the right direction here. One thing we want to be careful about is these two Bollinger Bands as they move closer together. We want to make sure that these the price is not going to be moving outside of those Bollinger Bands. Right now it's sitting in that. It looks good, but usually when the Bollinger Bands get real close, we see a big movement, big price movement. So I would expect that, maybe not next week, but the week after, maybe see some movement in either direction, probably in the positive, since we're in the positive on the technicals of the chart. On a 2-day scale, we are doing all right. The 2-day scale ended up with a DO oscillator of 3.27 last week, and it ended up with a 3.30 this week. So we are back on the rise on our 2-day chart, and on our 4-hour chart, we are also on the rise, and our blue line's about to cross our moving average. So we're about to have all 3 charts on VXF. That is really, really good stuff for us. We want to have our money in that S fund or that ETF VXF. Looking for good positive movement towards the end of July here, with all our technicals looking just peachy. Moving on to the international markets, or EFA. With EFA, we're seeing a lot of mixed results. We've seen some mixed results all the way since April. The chart's just been kind of consolidating since the beginning of 2019. Kind of lot of lines here, a lot of really confusing lines. Not as clear as our other 2 stock funds. I would kind of stay out of this one. I would let it kind of work its way out, see what it's going to do on a technical chart. With EFA, we are still below on our basically on the 4-hour chart, and on the weekly chart, we are just kind of sitting right where that moving average is. That PPO line has not moved above or below it. A lot of indecision on this fund here. As you can see with price, we have some spinning tops. Negative spinning tops too here. We have one here and we have one here. So we want to be very careful with that. I would stick to those other 2 funds, the large caps and small caps right now, and avoid international markets just at this time. We could see a change here in the future, but I think those are our better funds moving into this next week. And finally, let's move into bonds with AGG, or the F fund. Bonds are moving off that top trend line. Looks like they're coming back down to this bottom trend line. They did move below their 20-day moving average, so keep the notes of that. The 50-day moving average and our bottom trend line are about the same area. Some good resistance there to probably see to jump off of, but why be in this fund when the stock funds are doing much better than AGG? Good place to stick capital when stocks are not doing well, but stocks are doing pretty well. We had a positive week on stocks. Looking for a positive week next week on stocks. No issues with that. On a technical chart with AGG, or the F fund, as you can see, we are starting to lose momentum. Our DO oscillator is starting to move down. We moved from 5.99 to 5.54 to 3.95. So we are starting to see some large movements on the down scale with that deliverable oscillator. And that oscillator usually is a good indicator of where that stock price is going to go. So we like to see it in the positive, or be in the fund when it's coming out of the negative, but not when it's coming out of the positive. This is like going down the mountain. We do not want to be stuck at the bottom of the mountain. We want to be stuck at the top of the mountain. That's the way I like to look at that fund. With our PPO line, it still is above that red line, but as you can see, it's getting very, very close. On a 2-day scale, we're already negative, not wanting to be in that. And on a 4-hour scale, short-term basis, we are in the negative. We've been in the negative now for almost this entire month. So not a fund to really get into at this time. I'd stick to those stock funds. Stay away from bonds. With bonds being lower, that means typically stocks are probably going to do better than bonds. So that's a good thing. Usually we want to see the 2 kind of move opposite of each other. So I'm thinking we're doing pretty well right now where we have our funds. As always with our funds, now that we went through all of those stock funds, we are allocated in a 49-51 percentage, with 49% in the C fund, IVV, or large caps, and 51% on small caps, or VXF, or the F fund. As always, if you guys have questions, go ahead and write those in the comments below. My question for you is, do you think it's going to be a positive week for next week or a negative week? And as always, please like, subscribe, or share this channel. Really appreciate your guys' time. That's another top-notch video. We'll see you guys next time.